My parents chuckled. You'll never be as good as your brother. I stood up and said, then tell him to pay all the bills. I'm not sending money anymore. My mom was shocked. What money? We never received a single dollar from you. My name is Max. I'm 28, the oldest son, the steady one, the one who keeps the spare batteries and the emergency cash in a Ziploc bag. I pay my rent on time. I show up early. I bring folding chairs to family cookouts because we always run out. If you asked my parents to describe me in one word, they'd say responsible. If you asked for the second word, they'd say quiet. My younger brother, Cole, is the opposite. He's the story. Star of the soccer team, the one with the smile that makes waiters throw in free desserts. He's the guy my parents love bragging about. Every family update turns into a Cole highlight reel. New job, new car, a friend in real estate who knows someone huge. They say it like an incantation, proof that we're doing fine as a family because Cole is shining. I used to joke that I was the background music while Cole was the lead singer. Except the joke stopped being funny around age 22, when I was working double shifts and still showing up to fix the Wi-Fi and replace the light bulbs at my parents' place because Dad's back hurts and Mom shouldn't be on a ladder. They never asked how I was. They asked what I could do. 2 months ago, we were at my parents' dining table for Mom's birthday. The house smelled like lemon cleaner and roasted chicken. Dad had on the good polo. Aunt Rita kept rearranging the flowers like that would make the room richer. I brought a carrot cake from the bakery Mom likes, the one with the thick cream cheese frosting. Cole strolled in late with no dessert, no card, just a grin and a story about almost meeting someone from a startup. Everyone laughed like he'd just won a prize. We sat down. Mom opened gifts. A scarf from Aunt Rita. A candle from Dad's co-worker's wife. Cole handed over a small box, earrings. Real silver, he said, winking. He didn't say who paid. Mom gasped like she'd been handed the moon. I don't know why I expected a thank you for the cake. That's on me. Then Dad refilled his wine, glanced at me, and said it. You know, Max, you'll never be as good as your brother. He chuckled like it was a harmless joke. Mom chuckled too. The table joined in. Cole laughed the loudest. I heard it as a sentence, not a joke. I put my fork down. My cheeks were hot. In my head, I counted 11 months of covering their electric last year when Dad's hours got cut. 31 gas fill-ups after Mom's car just needed a little help. 22 transfers labeled groceries because the fridge was empty and your brother is between paychecks. I counted like breaths. Wow, Aunt Rita said, watching me. Don't be sensitive, honey. I wasn't crying. I was stoned. In that quiet, Mom added lightly. We just want you to be more ambitious, that's all. I reached for my water. The glass shook a little. I told myself to swallow it. Smile. Make a joke. Keep the peace because that's what I do. But then Aunt Rita turned to Cole and said, you really are the man of the family. And Mom nodded. A small laugh came from Dad's side. He's the one we can rely on. I don't know why that was the thing that pierced me, but it was. The word rely landed hard. It hit the part of me that keeps spreadsheets of due dates and bank transfers and receipts, the part that memorizes account numbers and Wi-Fi passwords, and the exact model of the fridge filter. I didn't say a word. I helped clear the plates, boxed the leftovers, wiped the counter. When I grabbed my jacket, Mom hugged me without looking at my face and whispered, try not to be jealous of your brother. On my way out, Cole clapped my shoulder. Don't take it personal, man. Outside, the porch light flickered. I stood under it, keys in hand, listening to them laugh through the window. I thought of the Zelle notification from that morning. $2.20 to Mom, groceries. I'd sent it without thinking, like I always did. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. We love you. Bring paper towels next time, we're out. No heart emoji. No thank you. Just a list. I drove home in silence. I put the carrot cake box in my fridge, even though it was half empty. I sat on the couch and stared at the receipts folder in my email that I'd been building for years like a weird hobby. Little green check marks. $80, $115, $400, $900. It all blurred. The next morning, Dad called and left a voicemail I didn't answer. Hey kiddo, don't be dramatic. Family jokes. I played it twice. Then I opened my banking app and scrolled. And scrolled. And scrolled. That night, I realized the joke was on me. And in the middle of that realization, while I was checking the date of a transfer labeled utilities, my screen lit up with a group chat notification. Family dinner Sunday, 6 p.m. Don't forget, Mom wrote. I stared at the words for a long time and felt something in me tilt. The money started when I was 21 and thought helping out was what good sons did. Dad called one January after a snowstorm. Power bill's a little high this month. Can you spot us $120? I'll pay you back Friday. He didn't pay me back Friday. He didn't pay me back ever. But he did ask again in February. We're short on gas money. Just until payday. Then March. Groceries. Your mom's trying to stretch it. I was working at a tech support desk, making $17.50 an hour. I lived in a studio with a wobbly table and a couch I found on Facebook Marketplace. I didn't have a lot, but I could spare $50 here, $75 there. It felt good to be useful. I told myself I was building trust. By 24, it wasn't spot us. It was a routine. Every first of the month, $300 labeled utilities. Every third Sunday, $80 gas. Random Wednesdays, $40 to $100 groceries. It added up to roughly $650 a month for almost 4 years. Some months more. When their car needed new tires, it was $480. When their water heater broke, my card, just for the deposit, was $250 that somehow became $250 plus $250 plus. We'll square it later. There were also Cole emergencies that weren't emergencies. He needs $200 to register for a certification exam. His landlord is being a jerk. Can you cover half the rent for this month? He had a slow month with freelancing. Cole always had a story. I always had a transfer. We never talked about paying me back. It was implied. Everything was implied in my family. Help, gratitude, debt. Nothing was written, but it was all recorded in my app. I tried to set boundaries once. I told Mom I couldn't send money until I refilled my savings. She sighed. We'll die before we ask you again. That promise lasted 2 weeks. She texted a grocery list and a heart. I sent $100. I sent because I knew what an empty fridge feels like, and because she always said, just this once, with that worried voice that opens your wallet. It wasn't just money. It was time. I fixed their Wi-Fi, installed a thermostat, replaced a bathroom faucet after watching 3 YouTube videos. I drove Cole to interviews. I edited his resume. I even let him use my address when he didn't want to keep moving his mail. Packages started arriving with his name on them. Sneakers, a drone, a gaming headset, while Mom texted me photos of the empty pantry. Whenever I mentioned being tired, Dad made jokes. That's adulthood, kiddo. Whenever I brought up fairness, Aunt Rita said, families aren't ledgers. Except in our house, the ledger lived in my pocket. The favoritism wasn't subtle. If Cole showed up with takeout once, Mom called him generous for a week. If I covered 2 months of their power bill, she said, we're all doing our part. On Father's Day, I booked a dinner for the 4 of us and paid the check. You shouldn't have, Dad said, and then turned to Cole to ask about his big plans at a company where he didn't actually have a job yet. The worst part was how they rewrote things in real time. Thanksgiving last year, Aunt Rita asked who helped with the water heater. Mom smiled at Cole. Our boy made some calls. I looked at my bank app under the table and saw plumber deposit $250. I said nothing. It's easier to be quiet than to be called dramatic. Meanwhile, my own life was just small. I wasn't struggling, but there was always that one bill I'd push a week, that one dinner I'd skip with friends because I'd sent $200 at 3 p.m. for urgent car insurance. My savings plateaued. When my coworkers planned a weekend trip, I pretended I had other plans. I didn't. I had a spreadsheet. I used to think they didn't know, that maybe the details were fuzzy in their heads. But they knew. They knew because Mom would say things like, you're so dependable, and then follow it with, since you're so good with money. Dad would call on payday and just check in. Cole would text, you're a lifesaver, man. I'll pay you back when my commission hits. No commission hit. New sneakers did. 3 moments stand out. First, the Christmas where I gave Mom a weighted blanket and she hugged me like I'd handed her a towel at the gym. Cole gave her a spa voucher he got free through a friend, and she cried. At the end of the night, I found a sticky note on the counter. Max, could you Venmo $150? We're short on rent. Second, the time my car needed brakes. I had to choose between paying my mechanic or sending $220 to my parents for overdue electric, urgent. I paid theirs. 3 weeks later, Mom posted a photo from a restaurant on Facebook. Much needed date night. I zoomed in on the wine glasses until the pixels broke. Third, the night of the lemon cleaner, the you'll never be as good, laughter, the word rely like a brick in my chest. That night, after their group chat pinged me about paper towels, I scrolled back to the first transfer I ever sent. January 14th, 2019. $120. The note said, just until Friday. I added it all. I got to $28,940 before I stopped. I didn't count cash receipts, gas fill-ups, or the AC repair I put on my card for points I never used. $28,940 is a new car, or a down payment, or a cushion big enough to sleep on without waking up to panic at 3 a.m. I thought about printing the list. I thought about blowing up the screenshots. I didn't. I made tea. I sat with the quiet. I tried to name the thing I felt. It wasn't anger. It was depletion. A drywell sound. When Dad's voicemail came the next morning, family jokes, I realized this wasn't a joke. It was a system. They were the storytellers, and I was the supply line. And because systems keep running until someone pulls a plug, the next text came right on time. Cole, hey, you around? I'm $400 short on rent this month. I'd ask Mom and Dad, but they're tight. I'll hit you back when I can. You're the best. He added a flex emoji. I stared at the screen for a long time. I typed, let me think. I erased it. 2 days later, Mom texted, we need you Sunday. Dad looked at the bills, and it's not pretty. Bring your checkbook. A smiley face. Bring your checkbook. I screenshot it. I didn't reply. I took a day off work and opened a blank doc. At the top I wrote, transfers. I listed dates and amounts for 2 hours. I printed it. 9 pages. I put them in a cheap binder from the dollar store. I didn't know if I was going to use it, but I knew I was done pretending this was air. Sunday came with that heavy, pre-thunder heat. I parked 2 houses down and carried a grocery bag because showing up empty-handed is how you lose the argument before it starts. Inside, paper towels. I rang the bell. Dad opened the door like a principal. Mom was at the table with a calculator and a stack of envelopes. Cole leaned on the counter, scrolling his phone. Finally, Mom said brightly, we were just talking about our plan. Great, I said, and set the bag down. Dad tapped the calculator. We've been doing the numbers. With interest rates and inflation, we need a family approach. We're thinking everyone contributes monthly until things stabilize. Everyone, Cole echoed, not looking up. I pulled out the binder and put it on the table. Before we talk about a plan, can we talk about the last 4 years? Mom blinked. What's that? Receipts, I said. Money I've sent for utilities, groceries, car repairs, rent. All of it. I might have missed a few. Dad's mouth tightened. Max, this is not the time to play accountant. It's exactly the time. Mom reached for the binder, flipped a few pages, and frowned. What money? We never received a single dollar from you. The room went quiet. Not the quiet of thinking. The quiet of gaslighting dropping like a fog. I didn't raise my voice. I slid my phone across the table. Open my bank app. The transfers are there. Notes. Dates. If you want, I can print statements. Dad pushed the phone back like it burned. This is disrespectful. What's disrespectful is rewriting my life while asking for my checkbook, I said. I've covered bills since 2019. I could list them one by one, but you can read. Cole finally looked up. Dude, why are you making this weird? It's family. Exactly, I said. Family doesn't deny reality when they're caught. Family says thank you. Mom's eyes flashed. After all we've done for you, the greatest hits album, you're going to throw money in our faces? I'm not throwing it. I'm acknowledging it. I took a breath. My hands were steady. You've depended on me for years. You've called me dependable and then laughed about me being quiet while assigning me the bill. Today, I'm not quiet. Dad leaned forward. So what do you want? A parade? A medal? I want boundaries, I said. No more monthly transfers. No more emergency Venmos. If you need help, you ask in advance, and you accept no for an answer. Cole scoffed. Then tell him to pay all the bills, I said, turning to Dad. If I'm never as good as my brother, let the golden child be the safety net. Mom stood. How dare you pit brothers against each other? I'm not, I said calmly. You did that a long time ago. The air felt heavy. My heartbeat didn't. It felt slow and even, like a metronome. I thought I would shake. I didn't. This isn't about revenge, I added, voice low. This is about closure. Dad's jaw worked. So you're cutting us off. I'm ending a system that's been bleeding me dry, I said. I'm not your bank. I'm your son. Mom stared at the binder like it might bite. We never asked you to, you exaggerated. Those were gifts, you love us. I do, I said. And loving you cannot mean bankrupting myself, financially or emotionally. Cole laughed once sharp. Whatever, man. I picked up the binder, slid the paper towels across the counter, and headed for the door. Max, Mom called. Don't walk away. You can't just. I can, I said, hand on the knob. And I am. I stepped into the heat. The door closed behind me like a full stop. My phone started buzzing before I reached my car. 12 missed calls. Then 18. By the time I pulled into my apartment lot, 31. I put the phone face down on the counter and made pasta. I ate standing up, staring at the binder like it was radioactive. When I finally checked my phone, I had 47 unread messages. Mom, you're confused. Come back and talk this out. Dad, you owe us the respect of a conversation. Aunt Rita, money isn't everything, sweetheart. Cole, you really think this makes you the hero? I didn't reply that night. I turned off notifications, cleaned my sink, and went to bed at 9:30 like the most boring rebel alive. I slept 8 hours for the first time in months. Monday, the narrative machine started. A cousin texted, "Heard you blew up at dinner. You okay?" My grandmother left a voicemail that had 2 full minutes of sighing. Dad wrote a group message about entitlement and forgetting where you came from. Mom posted a Facebook status about kids these days with a praying hands emoji. I expected anger. What surprised me was the revised history, immediately, like a show going live with the wrong script. Messages shifted from "we never received money" to "we never asked for money" to "those were gifts" to "you never said it was hard." I took a screenshot of each version, not to send, just to keep myself from doubting my own memory later. At work, I backed up the binder as PDFs, and then I did something small that felt huge. I opened my bank app and canceled 3 recurring transfers. Utilities, gas, groceries. The app asked, "Are you sure?" I hit yes. My chest felt both empty and light. The calls kept coming. Mom alternated between sobbing and sounding like a customer service rep. "We can start fresh," she said on one voicemail. "Let's just agree on a number. Maybe $300 a month." Dad tried logic. "We're a unit. Everyone does their part." Cole sent me a Venmo request for $400 with the note, "Rent," last time. I declined it. He sent a question mark. I didn't answer. Midweek, Aunt Rita invited me to coffee. Not an ambush, I promise. It was an ambush. She opened with a hug that smelled like powder and then went into a speech I'm pretty sure she rehearsed in the car. "Let's not burn bridges over a misunderstanding." "What misunderstanding?" I asked. She smiled the way people smile when they think you're 5. "You embarrassed your parents. They feel attacked." "They felt attacked by math," I said. She sighed. "You know your mother. She worries. She says you didn't tell her you were keeping track. So gratitude only counts if I don't keep a receipt?" I asked. "Got it." She blinked. "You're being unkind." "I'm being accurate." I paid for my own coffee and left before she could turn accuracy into cruelty. By Friday, the tone changed. The group chat pinged with "family meeting Sunday." I typed, "I won't be there," and sent it before the fear could edit me. Mom replied instantly, "You think you're better than us now?" Dad added, "Don't forget who raised you." Cole texted, "You've always been jealous, bro, sad." I muted the chat. I made a grocery list with exactly what I wanted: berries, pasta, salmon, a kind of yogurt I usually skip because it's not necessary. I bought it. I ate it with a spoon the size of my boundaries. Little practical changes followed. I set up a savings transfer with the same dates and amounts as what I used to send them. Watching $300 slide into my own account on the first of the month was like unlocking a window. I booked a dentist appointment I'd been putting off. I called a therapist and said, "I need help untangling guilt from responsibility." She said, "That's a job I do a lot." At night, the temptation to explain buzzed in me like a mosquito. To send a long, calm message with screenshots and numbered lists and I statements. I didn't. Explaining to people committed to not hearing you is performance art. I didn't have the energy. Still, it hurt. The ache surprised me. I missed the version of our family I kept trying to build with my money and my silence. There were good memories threaded in there. Mom's chicken noodle soup when I was sick, Dad teaching me to change a tire, Cole and I laughing at stupid memes. It's easier to keep paying a tax when you call it love. 2 weeks in, the calls slowed. The guilt didn't, but it got quieter. Then the spin went public. A neighbor sent me a screenshot of Mom's post. "Raising kids is hard when they forget your sacrifices. Some people think everything is about money." Comments poured in. Prayers. "Stay strong. Kids these days." Cole posted an Instagram story of his new sneakers with the caption "self-made." I almost laughed. I started running again. Not to be dramatic. My body needed somewhere to put the tension. 3 miles, then 4. I listened to a podcast about boundaries. The host said, "Say no without a paragraph." I practiced in the mirror. No, it felt like a secret language. The third Sunday, the day I used to send gas money, I drove past my parents' house. Old habit. I parked a street away and sat there like a ghost. Through the window, I could see them around the table. My chair was empty. I felt loss and relief braided together. That mixes grief, I guess. The next day, a new number called. It was Dad's coworker's wife, the one who gave Mom the candle. Your parents are under a lot of stress, she began. Could you? No, I said. Silence. You didn't even let me finish. I didn't need to, I said. No, it wasn't mean. It was a full sentence. I hung up and felt, okay. A week later, I got an email from a collections company addressed to my parents, but sent to me because my address was still on some old form. Past due, $312. A year ago, I would have paid it quietly. I forwarded it to Mom and Dad with the subject line, "This is your bill, not mine." Mom replied, "Why are you being cruel?" I typed and deleted 20 versions of "I'm not." I closed the laptop. I went for a run. When I got back, there was one more email in my inbox. Not from my parents. From Cole. Subject, "Be real." Body, "We all know you like holding this over us. You always wanted to be the hero. Congrats, you win." I stared at it and felt the anger finally show up. Not loud, just sharp. I replied with one sentence. I wanted to be a son. He didn't write back. That night, I set a new rule that sounds silly written out. I will not open the banking app after 9 p.m. There is nothing in there that can fix my family at 9:01. I put my phone on the other side of the room. I slept. Here's what I know now. I can love my family and still refuse to finance their denial. I can be dependable without being a doormat. I can say no and not add a paragraph to make everyone else comfortable. I don't owe anyone my exhaustion. I don't owe anyone my savings. I don't owe anyone the version of me that makes their lives easier at the expense of my own. I'm not sending money anymore. Not because I'm angry, though sometimes I am. Not because I need them to suffer, I don't. But because I'm done pretending this is normal. If they ask for help in good faith, clear, specific, with respect, I'll decide case by case. If they try to guilt me, rewrite history, or make my boundaries the problem, the answer is simple. No. The binder is in my closet. I don't look at it often. It's not a trophy. It's a record. A reminder that I'm not crazy. When doubt creeps in, I flip to a page, read a few lines, and then close it. I don't need to keep tallying. The math already did its job. Mom and Dad still text sometimes. They send photos of the dog. They don't say thank you for the years I helped. Maybe they never will. That's their story. Mine is different now. It starts with "My name is Max," but it doesn't end with "reliable." It ends with self-respect. I'm building a new routine. Sunday mornings are for runs and pancakes. The first of the month is for moving money into my own savings. The third Sunday is for calling a friend and making plans I don't cancel. The binder stays shut. If I had to put it in one line, the line I wish someone had given me at 21, it'd be this. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. And here's my final promise to myself, simple and solid. I won't let anyone turn my love into a bill again.